Hey, what's up, La Familia? You crazy football-loving nutters. This is Ray Hudson, and you are luxuriating in listening to the Inter Miami podcast with the stupefyingly magnificent Jay and Alex. Two lads who are as electrifying as a hairdryer thrown into a hot tub. Stay tuned, because you know what it's going to be. It's going to be magisterial with an amplifier.
The cross goes, he's done it again. Taylor squares it for Victor Ulloa. It's one up. Ulloa and Taylor. Job done for Inter Miami. Let it in by Morte. What? 6. It's 2 for Miami. Damian Lowell doubles the lead. Sometimes you can just sense something wicked. This way it comes.
2 wins away. 2 wins away from arguably the greatest turnaround of a season that the league has ever seen. And if this fruition comes to reality, then it's going to be the most glorious time to be down here. Who can stop us now? It's not rhetorical. You guys are allowed to answer.
Oh, okay. I mean, I was pretty worried last game, to be honest with you. We were looking pretty shaky defending.
I'll tell you what. I was not as worried as I would have ever been pre-Messi. And I just, no matter what happened, I had this feeling in my gut that there is still a chance, no matter how formidable the opposition or the game script was going. And we are going to get into this. We are going to get into the most CONCACAF game I think we've ever seen as a club, as an organization. It was wild. It had a little bit of everything from both sides, and absolutely glorious. Let's just get into this, man. Welcome everyone to the Inter Miami podcast. I am Jay Kington, joined by the one, the only IMCFTraveller, aka Morgan Schmidt. We're gonna keep that last name anonymous, and Mr. Anderson himself, none other than Jim Anderson, the CTO, Chief Technical Officer of the entire Inter Miami podcast universe. How are you guys doing tonight?
A lot better now.
Yeah, right.
I'm feeling good. A little bit angry, but we'll get into that later in the show.
We got some hate. We got some hate to get off our chest, and I have a feeling, I know for certain, that we are not the only ones that share an intense hatred towards one specific organization that I wish the government would just assume control over at this point. Honestly, I know that's against all things America and capitalism, but hot damn, we're gonna let these dudes have it.
That's against all things Jay.
That is. I am a proud American and do support capitalism, but there are, of course, as there's with any philosophy, there are some pockets, some nooks, some crannies of some situations where, I could see, the whole communist route, just taking it over and give it back to the people. But we are, of course, obviously all in good spirits, coming off of the latest win, Messi heroics, just magic from an individual who certainly does not appear to be a human being or anywhere near that level. But we are talking about coming off the round of 16 win against FC Dallas 4-4, and then winning it in penalties, which I know made probably every Inter Miami fan nervous. We had, a little bit of delay. It was living vicariously through Trav Chat, so we didn't get the proper, get back on and beat the drum and make fun of Orlando City and all the crying and complaining they've been doing. But we're just going to be the bigger men and move past that. We'll have another game with them later this season. But boys, have you ever seen a more WTF game all over the place? Hard fouls, open play, 2 own goals, keep you on the edge of your seat. Have you ever seen such a wild game before in the club's history? I'm trying to think of one that matches it, and I honestly can't.
Cincy.
Which Cincy game? The Hurricane game?
No, 4-4 last year.
Oh, yeah.
Was that last year? Yeah, Chris McVeigh was here.
Year.
Oh, that was the last second.
That was
tie,
the Chris McVeigh banger,
yeah,
where he hit it off the crossbar, literal last second of the match.
Yep. That was a glorious moment. But I mean, I was so tired the entire day, and I think initially they had the game at like 8:00, and I was like, all right, whatever, that's fine. And then like they just switched it all of a sudden like 9:30, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. And I was considering maybe just falling asleep at halftime. Like, not because I want to, but I would just doze off. But I'll tell you what, that game brought so much energy because there was just so much hectic chaos ball going on. And one of the more fond memories I think we'll have of this club over the next couple of years. And I'm hoping there's many more. We obviously won. We did advance. But before we get to that, a lot of controversy on this one. Morgan, I know you had a certain stance on one I don't agree with, being your refereeing self that you are. If you didn't know, he's not only an insider, pseudo-analyst, media personality, but he did come up, and that's still a little bit to do some refereeing, right? Yep. So He he's the guy that always shares, who are the officials are for the game. And I always tell him that it doesn't matter who he's sharing. They're all trash. We, have a certain view towards pro refs, but the first goal, right? Classic Barcelona goal. Fans have seen this many times before. Jordi Alba coming down the left side, cutting in with his left foot, and then Messi one time right outside the box. Just a beautiful little curler into the to the left side of the goalkeeper's right side. I thought it was fine. I understand the ruling. Chelsea had a goal looked very similar, but Morgan, share your opinion on the Joseph slight arch of back, maybe a step forward, and you believe that is interference of the play, obstruction of the keeper's view, and should have been offsides. I'm going to let you explain your side on this one, but just know that at the end of the day, you are wrong.
So, ultimately, and, before I get on this tangent, shout out to pro referees, Tori Pensa, Rubio Vasquez, and Ismail Alpha. Great guys. 2 of them Florida homegrowns. But no, the laws of the game clearly state that to be offside and to be called offside, you have to be either directly involved with the play or interfering with the play. We've seen countless goals like this callback in MLS, and especially on VAR, where the goal scored, the attacker who's in an offside position is obstructing the keeper's view and the keeper's ability to make a play on the ball, and it gets called back for offside because they interfered with the play in an offside position. My view is that although Josef was not directly in the sight line of the keeper, his movement to get out of the way of this ball, he very clearly arched his body away from the ball, affected the keeper's ability to make a accurate save attempt on this, because until that ball passes Josef, who's only a yard in front of the keeper has to also assume that this may go off of Josef and into the back of the net. So for me, that's interfering with play. I would have called it back on video review and stuck with the initial on-field decision of offside.
So that's what makes it a little spicy, though, is because initially it was called offside. VAR reviewed, changed their mind. My interpretation of the rule is you either had to clearly obstruct the view which I don't think Joseph did, right? I think Joseph was far away enough to where that ball wasn't going to hit him whether it moved or not. I truly do believe that. The other understanding of this rule is that you would have to like try and put a foot towards it, right? Try and move any part of your body to try and make contact with the ball. And that would obviously have you trying to affect the outcome of that play, and you're in offside position. So it would be offside. So it's interesting because the ref calls it offside. The VAR overturns it. Do you not believe that there's credibility to that it was reviewed by VAR?
I think that, kind of this bar for clear and obvious error has gotten murky in MLS. I don't think that this was a clear and obvious error by the assistant referee. I think that on-field decision was accurate. I think he had basis to make that decision and wasn't clear and obvious of an error. So, do I think VAR overstepped a little bit? Probably. Do I think that's becoming increasingly common? Yes. I think VAR is being, more used to re-officiate the game than it was initially designed for. VAR was designed to only review match-changing plays, obvious offsides that were missed that led to goals, missed red cards, and so on and so forth. And I think that, VAR has really failed to do that and has more so begun to re-officiate matches. And, it makes VAR a lot less of a good thing to have because referees lower their standards if they know that they're going to have somebody right there who's going to say, okay, that call that you made on the field was maybe not correct. Let's go and take another look at it in 40 different angles and slow-mo and everything.
I would like to think that the VAR saw that he was so far the way that it wasn't interference. But to make this a little bit more spicy, Dallas had actually scored early on, and it was called offsides. And then shortly after, a few minutes, Messi has this goal called offsides. We're like, okay, that's the great equalizer. We'll accept both. But then they overturn this. So it kind of adds fuel to the fire. So Jim, your first question on the platform, baby. Since you're a big conspiracy theorist and don't think we landed on the moon, that's
I never said that.
We are seeing every single game now. A lot of people coming out of the woodwork, fans of other teams in the MLS, all saying everything's scripted. This is rigged. They're bending the rules. What were your thoughts on the call? And do you think there's a chance that there's a greater play at hand here? Because we're going to get into, the own goal by Farfan, which was I still don't understand what he was doing, but I could see where the conspiracy theories start. What do you think, bud?
Man, when I first saw the goal, I honestly didn't think there was anything against it. Like, I never thought it was going to be called for offsides when I first saw it. And then the review changed my mind. So it was actually the opposite of most people. When I first saw it, I didn't even see Joseph move at all. So I just assumed he was just standing there and he should have been able to save that. But when you watch the replay, you see him clearly move away from the ball where the ball is coming to actually go to the net. So, like, every time I've seen this in any other league, including the MLS, that's always been called offsides. It doesn't necessarily matter if he's going in the view of the goalie. It's still an obstruction when I look at it. So with that in mind, I don't really, believe the conspiracies that so many people are talking about. I do think a lot of the goals that have happened have been in Messi's wheelhouse. Like, a lot of the free kicks are his specialty. So, like, a lot of the areas he's been scoring goals from, and I don't really see anything that stands out to me. However, in this game, especially the own goal was very subject, as it was probably the best header I've seen in MLS in a while. So I don't know. I think a lot of people have a lot of opinions. I think we're getting a lot of negativity thrown at Inter Miami right now because of everything that's been happening. So I think that also comes into play with those kind of thoughts.
So here you have it. Here you have it, guys. Folks, I'm going to throw out the folks. It's been a while. 2 unbiased opinions from diehard Inter Miami fans. And now they're making me feel like I'm a blind, biased idiot who just sees things that I want to see. So we take the lead. Dallas equalizes through Facundo Wignon. I probably butchered that name. Sorry, friend. And okay, we got a fight on our hand. They ended up going up with Bernard Kumongo in the 45th minute, and now we're down 2-1. And this is something we're obviously familiar with, but we feel like, hey, 2-1 with Messi, with the Busquets, with Alba, we still got a chance. And then they go up 3-1, and I think everyone was thinking, we had a good run, right? First stretch of games with Messi. Some people might have resigned to it, right? We've seen this club again fall apart after just going down 1-0 in the previous seasons, right? And really ruining the game. And we've seen that energy sucked out of the crowd. Maybe not La Familia, who's never going to stop singing or chanting or playing instruments, but that that is taken out for sure. Then we make a sub, and I would like your comments on this, guys, because I thought Diego Gomez had a pretty first outing, coming on in the Orlando game. I think he showed, some potentials of what he could be, but this game, not so much. I don't really think it was a good game for him in particular. I mean, it's his first start, right? First full game. Well, not full game. I mean, he was subbed off, but we'll get there. I think it's going to take time to adjust, and it wasn't working. So we do see the substitution happen for fan favorite, traveler favorite, none other than Ben Hameen Kramaski. He comes in, and he's got legs, young legs, in that hot heat, right? It was like 104 to start the game or whatever. So he comes on, little like kind of scramble ball, just sprints in there, drills one home, and boom, 3-2. Only down a goal, right? Beautiful. Morgan, though, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, obviously I know you were very happy with that goal, but what were your thoughts on Gomez to start this game? And where do you see that going in the future in terms of, is Gomez going to be starting more, do you think? Or did Benha do enough to say, hey, I should be your starter?
I was pretty vocal about it before the match that, I thought it was too early to bring Diego Gomez in. I thought there was no good reason to bench Benha just yet. He had good games against Cruz Azul, Atlanta, and Orlando. So I thought that benching him was a little bit peculiar. I understand why they went with Diego Gomez. He's a fast central midfielder who's going to cover a lot of space. So, you want him in a game like this where you want to be able to stretch the defense and tire them out in just the brutal Texas heat. And while I thought he did really good in bringing some life into the game against Orlando, I think in this match he struggled. He struggled to find the space. He struggled to connect with, Busquets, Alba, Messi, Taylor, Josef, everybody. And that, he kind of looked out in no man's land. And, I thought in brutal honesty, his defensive work rate sucked. He kind of refused to come back. He refused to defend. The second goal was primarily because Gomez was standing outside the 18, saw Quignon making a run in and didn't step to him, and instead just watched the play and the cross come in. So, I think he's a very exciting young prospect, and I think he has the future as a starter. But right now, you can't bench Benha no matter what. Right now, he's on fire.
And you brought up a good point, right? The passing. In a game where we had 67% possession, there was a lot of poor passing. I'd say in terms of passing, probably the most inaccurate as a team we have been since Messi and Busquets have joined the team, to where there were painful giveaways at points and several in a row. And So, 3-2, whatever. Beno comes in, gets the goal, little screamer to the roof. Really nice. I mean, how do you not love seeing the academy kids score and just the joy in their face? But 3 minutes later, and I will take full responsibility for my comments in the Discord, stating that, hey, it's been a long time since we've had an own goal. It's just like a random thought that came across my mind. And then I was like thinking in my head, like, who would be the one to score the own goal? And a few players popped in my head, and Robert Taylor happened to be one of them. But I was like, nah, Robbie's too good. That would never happen. And so then I kind of certainly jinxed the team there, and I do apologize. And some people, made me feel, made their feelings felt for it. But 3 minutes later, after clawing back within one goal, full on break, who was it that went for the slide? I think it was Dixon Arroyo went for a slide in midfield, got dusted, and then just the break was on, and outnumbered, outmanned, coming down the right side. Jesus Ferreira just kind of waiting for that ball to come in on the middle for what would be a pretty, I think, classic goal for him, like some that he's very comfortable with. Just would basically be a one-on-one, him and Drake Callender, in terms of him shooting and whatnot. But then out of nowhere, we see, you'd see Erling Haaland just running, super Haaland coming down. And it's Robbie Taylor flying down, slides in the box, breaks the pass up. That ball trickles ever so, not fast, not slow, just right perfectly in the middle. Really slow reaction from Drake. Own goal. And we're down 4-2. Jim, what were your feelings in that particular moment, and what do you think about Drake's reaction times there?
Man, I felt like we had a lot of energy after it felt like we were coming back in the game, and then after seeing that, what I thought should have been saved by most goalies, it just kind of drooped in there, and I didn't understand what he was looking at or what he was trying to place his feet when he was trying to save that. I was shocked just knowing how good he is, how many crazy saves I've seen him do, even this season. I was baffled. Just like, wow.
And that's the one that gets through.
Yeah, I guess it's just not our day today.
And it wasn't fast. It wasn't slow. And we all sat there. It felt like it was slow motion. And I was like, oh, thank God Robbie stopped it. Drake will pick that up. No, just sneaks right by his left side. And I think you're right. The energy felt sucked out. Personally, how did you feel? Did you resign yourself, or do you think, we got messy? Crazier things have happened.
Well, I was basically laying in bed and kind of half conscious when I was watching this game because I wasn't feeling very good. But when I saw that happen, I just kind of shook my head. I was like, man, it's just not our night. I personally didn't think we were planning on making an amazing run at the end of the game. Dallas had so many chances from the first 30 minutes in the second half that they could have finished, and we just had a lot of luck our way with the Kamal Miller crazy recovery play and a lot of other stuff. And I was just just maybe it isn't our day today. It's kind of how I felt.
That was a hell of a recovery by Kamal. There's been times where Kamal or Sergey kind of exposed, trying to track back one-on-one, has been a bit exposed. But 10 minutes left to go in the game. Down 2 goals. Got the best player of all time on our team. 80th minute, though. Foul gets drawn. Far left side of the box. A little deep. It'd be very audacious for Messi to have a goal. Have a shot on goal, rather, for this one. So he decides to opt in with a little cross. And like you said earlier, Jim, saw one of the best headers in the MLS this season. So I want to flip the question to you now, Morgan. How much did the MLS pay Marco Farfan to save that game for Messi?
I would say not as much as they paid Steve Clark, Houston's goalie, to just absolutely be caught in no man's land on the Charlotte own goal, on the Houston own goal that won the match for Charlotte in their matchup. But no, I think, that came down to Marco Farfan was tracking a run, I believe, of Leo Campana, and got caught ball watching and not seeing where he was in relation to the net and how he would field a header, and ended up just pounding that thing into the back of the net. I mean, truly, maybe the best Inter Miami header goal of this season.
So you think he thought he was a little more to his right, so he was just going to put it out of bounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's no way he was trying to get that over. I mean, that was a laser of a header. And so now, 10 minutes to go, and less than 10 minutes, and we need one more goal to equalize, and that will bring us to. I mean, is it fair to say that's the best free kick Messi has had in Inter Miami history? I mean, that opening night, that was pretty magical, but this one, just the placement was out of this world. 85th minute, not as close as maybe he would have liked. A little deep, and with something that deep, the keeper's going to have a lot of time to react to that. And there's really only one place you can put it there for Pays not to get it, and he picks out. It's like the classic, top bin. It's like if you had a tire tied to that corner of the goal. And where does he go? He places it and drills it. One of the most, it's got to be the most beautiful kick in our history. And it's so, to me, it's fun to see, because Gonzalo had some nice free kicks, but they were completely different styles. Gonzalo's like, I'm going to hit this as hard as I possibly can. We're not going over the wall. We're just going to shoot directly at net. I'm going to rocket this ball. Good luck trying to stop this. Where Messi is much more like, I can place this wherever I want. And he places something truly, truly magical. And at that point I was like, there's no way we're going to lose this game. Even if we go to penalties, which haven't been our strong suit, right? We've lost some embarrassing games. Specifically, I think of that Orlando Open Cup game last year, right? Is that the one Bryce Duke just had probably the worst penalty of his career? Is that the right one, Morgan?
Yeah, Bryce, and then I think Yedlin skied his.
Yeah. But we were trying to figure out okay, well, what's the order? Probably Leo, probably Busquets, probably Jordi. I was thinking maybe Kamal, but I was thinking they might go like Campana, Robbie Taylor or something like that. But they ended up letting Kamal have it. And I honestly felt comfortable because Kamal crushed it for us against Miami FC in the Open Cup. Kamal also had a nice penalty in the Gold Cup as well. So I felt pretty confident. And then they asked Benha to step up and be the fifth place kicker. And he said he was very nervous about that, about being in that place. But hey, everything worked out. And I do feel bad for I can't remember what his name was. He was the homegrown player.
Oh, Paxton Pomykal.
There we go. Pomykal. Boykin, what am I doing? I truly did feel bad for him to sky it. Thought he had a pretty great game, and that was kind of it's one of those things that obviously you're happy to win, but you feel bad for the player.
I don't. I mean, imagine what Farfan's bank account's looking like this morning. Think about Pomykal. You ask Farfan. It's like, all right, dude. Like, we need you to misplace a header, like smash into the back of your own net. Pomykal, they're like, all right, dude, you got to sky this thing, and you got to do it in convincing fashion.
That's deep. So there's 3 different conspiracy theories around this game right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's see, but I feel like you would have to pay Farfan much more. Paul McCall, you probably just pay him an extra $5,000.
Nah, because Pomykal, all right, there's the story behind it. Our homegrown wins it. Their homegrown wearing 19, which is reserved for homegrown, skies it.
There's storylines.
Next level conspiracy.
It's all coming together now.
I'm just saying there are storylines here.
God, I wonder how Pamukau bought that boat that's on his Instagram. Now we know.
Yeah, he's got a nice Rolex on his wrist all of a sudden.
Yeah, he wasn't wearing that pre-match.
No. And someone said like this is the most MLS game. I was like, this is the most CONCACAF game. Like this truly is the most CONCACAF game ever. It had 2 own goals. It honestly could have had, per your guys' vision, two goals called back in the opening 10 minutes of the game. Like it was open. There was sloppy passing. There was some rough tackling. I mean, just to get out of there with a win and the team's first real road test, not just a road test, but a game where you're facing adversity, a game where you are down multiple times throughout the game, claw yourself back in, go down again to that 2-goal differential, and then somehow pull out this magic. And tonight is the remaining games of the round of 16. Live update route right here. We've got Nashville leading Club America. In the 65th minute, Nashville is winning 1-0. You got Minnesota over Toluca, 2-0 in the 63rd minute. Tigres and Monterrey, that's going to be a pretty good game right there. There is a little bit of a derby there. LAFC, Real Salt Lake, that's going to be a hell of a game as well. That's later at 10. Sorry, the Tigres Monterrey is at 10. LAFC Real Salt Lake is at 10:30. Nice storyline here is Chicharrongo is now playing for RSL, going against his old team, LAFC. And in terms of who we're playing, it didn't really matter who won the game between Charlotte or Houston because both of them were below us in the 2022 Supporters Shield standing. So we knew that if we won in Dallas, we're at least getting a home game for the round of 8. And New England went to overtime. QRO, I can't remember. Carotero, whatever that team I've never even really ever watched one game of is. Anyway, they drew up and New England lost in penalties. And then you got Philadelphia and New York Red Bulls going at it right now. 66th minute, and the New York Red Bulls are winning.
Whoa.
Curatario is actually a great story.
What is the story?
So they almost didn't come to Leagues Cup because their players haven't been paid in, I think, 2.5 months.
Wow.
What?
And their players 2 days beforehand were like, screw this, we're not going to go play. And literally the day of their flight to, I believe, Philly, they said, all right, we'll put this aside. We'll show you what we can do, and we'll play in Leagues Cup. And since then, they have a lower payroll than, I think, almost half of the MLS teams. These are players who haven't been paid in 2 months, and yet here they are in the quarterfinals. And Philly ties it up.
Well, that is an amazing story. And now I'm kind of low-key rooting for them.
Yeah.
Until we face them.
That's what happened with Dixon Arroyo. Wasn't he like 6 weeks without pay or something? He's like, whatever. Yeah. I guess I'll go to Inter Miami, though. The fledgling team who just lost, probably at least 2, if not 3 of their starters at that moment. So pay your players. This isn't charity work over here. These people perform at a high level. You need to pay your players. This Leagues Cup hasn't updated yet. So Philadelphia equalized. Who scored it? Was it Hooley?
Nathan Harriel.
Oh, yeah, he's a stud too. I like him.
Header off a corner, bottom corner.
So here's how it works out. Is whoever wins the Philly Red Bull game is going to play Querétaro. Am I saying that right?
Beats me.
Whatever. Querétaro. Sorry to all of our fans in South America if that offends you. It's probably not going to be the first time or the last time. So basically, whoever plays out is going to play them. And what we're hoping for here is Querétaro to continue this little magical dark horse run, because if they win and we beat out Charlotte, then that gives us yet another home game. And then there's got to be some magic on the other side for that to work out in our favor to potentially get a final. So just quick discussion here. What are your initial thoughts on the game against Charlotte? I'm really happy that we are playing Charlotte. I think they're one of the weaker teams. No offense to Charlotte. They've had some struggles. They have had some fans that have had similar thoughts to what we have had over our first 3.5 years of we were promised a certain style of football and this isn't what's been delivered, and they're not too happy. So in terms of friendliness of bracket, I think our division region rather was pretty friendly, but I feel very confident. I don't want to be overconfident or too cocky, but we're going into a team that isn't really doing too well, and we now have an injection of players. I still think it's going to be a great match, but I think the atmosphere will be pretty rowdy. And even Top Bin 90 reached out to us tonight to do a little collab podcast to discuss the game. We had this plan, so we couldn't make that. We missed it the last game as well, but we will get with them before the end of the season. They're actually going to be down here, so we'll all be hanging out with them in the green lot. But I do think there's going to be a pretty large traveling group coming down here from Charlotte. This will be a really exciting game. Obviously, there's a lot at stake here, not with just trying to win some hardware, but also, first, second, and third place all get to the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So I think this is going to be a really great environment. Oh, we'll start with Jim. What are your thoughts, buddy, on Charlotte?
Yeah, I mean, Charlotte's been playing pretty good in the cup right now. I mean, they also beat FC Dallas in the group stage. So I don't think that it'll be as competitive as some people think. I think we'll probably win 3-1, would be my guess. However, they still have some solid players, and they've been playing relatively good pre-cup as well. So I think there's still a chance. I think the problem with our team is we look at the next matchup immediately following a goal or two, and we just don't keep our eyes on finishing a game. And I feel like that's what we need to do here. As soon as we score the first goal, there has to be a red light spinning, and everyone just needs to score a bunch more. Because I think Charlotte has plenty of attackers that can score plenty of goals. And I think that's the issue that we have right now is defending. Yeah. Our wing backs or center backs, everything. So.
That is certainly the weak point of the team right now is the defense. We do expect that to be resolved over the next year with Hendo cooking. I am a big Karol Swiderski fan. I like him. I think he's got a lot of touch and a lot of finesse about him. Morgan, what say you, buddy?
I think that Charlotte showed against Houston that they are, I don't want to call them a weak side, but they're definitely not one of the stronger sides in Leagues Cup right now, because Houston had a lot of chances that they just blew. Houston should have been up probably 4-1 at one point, and instead Houston lost 2-1, due to their own fault.
It was in 3 minutes too, right?
1 minute between goals.
Yeah.
It was Charlotte scored, Houston kicked off. Houston on kickoff played it back to their center back, who went to pass it to Steve Clark, their goalie. It went right back to Steve Clark and in the back of the net.
That was Baird, I think, right?
But yeah, Houston should have won that match by multiple goals, and they didn't. So, I think the overall view is that Miami should win this match comfortably. I think that Christian Lazio is going to basically sit and counter. He's going to play as close to 7-2-1 as you're ever going to see. And they're going to just hope for a counterattack and try and hit Miami, where they are weak, because Miami doesn't like to keep numbers in their own half. And truthfully, Miami's two center backs are slow.
That's fair. Here's another conspiracy theory for you that I've been hearing. Is because Querétaro is the only Mexican team, Liga MX team that was in the round of 16, right? I mean, we saw Pumas lose, we saw Atlas lose, which I think a lot of people thought Atlas was going to go pretty far. And then you got Club America, you've got Tigres, you've got Monterrey. You have the powerhouses of Liga MX on the other side of the bracket. And I saw some people kicking this one they gave Miami the easiest region and the easier side of the bracket with less Liga MX teams so that Messi can win. Completely ignoring the fact that these groups were selected well before Messi was ever announced to even be coming here or even flew in to Miami. But I'm just saying, dude, we are building a layer cake of Alex Jones level conspiracies here around the league.
Hey, I'm all for it.
You mean
Definitely makes things more interesting. That's for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
you know me. You know me. I do love me a good conspiracy theory, but I'm more, I think, in Jim's camp, and not, I think Morgan, you're agreeing as well. But I think like 3-1 is within reason. I still think that we're going to have these defensive lapses probably a few times a game. But I always say the best defense is just an offense. If we're scoring 3-4 goals a game, then we can allow for those mental lapses, and goals to come. And it's fine. It'll keep it more exciting. It gives teams hope that, hey, maybe there isn't a greater conspiracy theory here at play. Now, here's the fun part. So let's just break down. And Trav, we were talking pre-recording about the various scenarios for us to get to the CONCACAF Champions Cup, right? And what we came across were 3 scenarios. Number 1, we win 3 games in a row. We win the entire Leagues Cup. We get the trophy. We get the first place. We get the CONCACAF Champions Cup bid. Number 2 is we win 2 games. So we beat Charlotte. We're in the round of 4. We win the next game. The second game, we're in the final. If we make the final, both teams are automatically going to the CONCACAF Champions Cup. The other scenario, right? So we have win 3. We have win 2, lose 1, lose the last game. The other one is we win against Charlotte. We lose in the semifinals, and then we win in the third place game, and that would get us there. So we need to win either 3 in a row, 2 in a row, lose the last game, win, lose, win, and those 3 scenarios will get us into the CONCACAF Champions Cup. At this point, I would say these are all pretty realistic possibilities. The percentages of us making it to the Triple C, we'll just start calling it for short, are increasing by the round, which feels great. And that's kind of an obvious statement, but I think the confidence of the team, obviously having Messi, Busquets, Alba only helps. But we will have 2 new toys. Trav, what is the latest with our other 2 U22 initiative players coming in?
So Facundo Farias and Thomas Alves should be arriving very shortly, if not already. Both of them were just waiting on visas to be sorted out in order to join the club and to obviously train according to the U.S. government. However, they have, just like Diego Gomez, been added to the Leagues Cup roster. Ian Frey has been dropped from the Leagues Cup roster as he deals with another season-ending ACL injury suffered in the Cruz Azul match. So, Miami has registered all of them. They are all eligible to play as early as Friday, pending that, they turn around, they get their visas, and they get some training in. I see it as unlikely that they play before the semifinals, but they will be eligible to play in Leagues Cup because they have been registered before the deadline of August 11th.
Look forward to that. Some nice, much needed reinforcements. Another one in the midfield and another one on the back line, which is Tomas Aviles. Looking forward to seeing his potential. I think that's where we certainly need the most help. But I heard you guys wanted another conspiracy theory.
Who doesn't?
Okay. So news came out, I think it was yesterday, that Nick Marsman is going to have his contract terminated with the club. He will no longer be a member of this team. Have some very fond memories in his first season. I think he played like an absolute lion before getting injured, and then we saw the rise of Drake. I think a lot of us saw this coming. He wasn't getting playing time. We were seeing like Dos Santos be the backup, so this was kind of riding on the wall. I'll never feel bad for Nick Marsman because he gets to go home to the Miss Netherlands, and he lives a very, very great and happy life. So shout out Nick Marsman. But conspiracy, which was starting to get reported by like Goal.com and some other European outlets, is that because Nick Marsman was, I don't want to say critical of Messi, although the stories certainly kind of put it that way. Nick Marsman, what was he going to a Heat game because he was wearing a Miami Heat jersey and he got interviewed?
Yeah.
And they asked him about Messi, and he said, I don't think Inter Miami's ready for Messi. And I think he was leaning more towards like a security standpoint, the current Stadium Drive Pink where we play, but this all got twisted as if he was critical of Messi and therefore Inter Miami terminated his contract, of course, to please Messi. Is there any weight to these statements, boys?
No, none. However, am I allowed to say his nickname on here?
I don't care if it's going to be marked
All right.
explicit, so go for it.
So, I think the only reason that Big Dick Nick was shipped off was purely for salary cap space and the fact that, you can't have a $700,000 backup goalkeeper, especially when CJ Dos Santos has more than proven his ability to play in that role. And Cole Jensen as well has proven that he can be an effective third string keeper during his time with IMCF2. So I think it purely comes down to a cap casualty. We, needed the extra little bit of flexibility, and the best way to get it was to buy out Big Dick Nick.
Jim,
I love
tell
that
me
you
you buy
gave him
in.
that nickname.
Tell me you buy into this conspiracy
All
theory.
right, well, listen. He gets the Big Dick Nick nickname because, come on, look at his wife. Like, he's got a great beard, don't get me wrong, but he's got to be rocking, downstairs.
Okay. We do have kids that listen to this podcast, so we're going to end it there. Jim, tell me you buy into this conspiracy theory. Come on, give me something.
I think it's slightly more believable than some of the other ones.
Is it slightly more
honest with you.
believable that the Cruz Azul game-winning free kick was scripted by the MLS?
It's probably about the same for me.
Ooh.
That was like pure, perfect, written in the stars kind of situation.
Okay. Is it more believable that the front office pulled an inside job and splattered their own supporters group mural with purple paint? Is it more believable than that conspiracy theory?
Oh.
Honestly, I'd probably say yeah. I think the situation is you come out, you gave an interview, and everybody knows it has nothing to do with Messi coming. It has to do with about the infrastructure, the security, everything like that. But that you talked about Messi at all is like somehow negative. And it just gets twisted, it gets turned. It's like the whisper down the alley. One person says one thing and then 10 people later, now all of a sudden he's like, I don't know. I don't want Messi here. He's terrible kind of situation. And I think anyone at the club knowing that he's already injured, he's not going to be a first or second string. This is just kind of like the icing on the cake kind of situation.
Okay. So what about the conspiracy theory that the club is pricing tickets so high that opposing fans can't afford them, so there's no opposing cheers when Messi is playing?
Son of a bitch, their own fans can't even afford them.
They just pipe in the Messi cheers.
Yeah.
But more specifically, it's the MLS in Inter Miami setting ticket prices for a CONCACAF Leagues Cup game.
Well, it's Leagues Cup and CONCACAF and MLS who are setting ticket prices.
There we go. It is amazing.
And then it's Ticketmaster committing multiple felonies and making me want to.
That's why I saved this conspiracy theory for last, so we can segue into this one. But if you see any of these conspiracy theories, if you just go to this little website, it's called Google or Googly, maybe google.com, you can look up stuff that shows you information like CONCACAF sets their ticket prices. Like Nick Marsman was talking about security. Like any other of these ridiculous conspiracy theories we're seeing can be disproven just with a quick Google. Like the Leagues Cup. Like the groups being set before Messi had even announced he was coming here. But whatever. We all love good conspiracy theories, so believe them all you want. Now, let's get into this, because this is something that irks me. I know this is something that irks every single Taylor Swift fan out there, but Ticketmaster is becoming a massive problem in American society. Not only do you pay a fee when you buy tickets, you pay a fee when you sell tickets. People that are buying those tickets that you're selling that you're paying a fee for, they're also paying a fee. So I don't know. I feel like Ticketmaster is just making all the money in the world. I don't know how they're not the most powerful organization in the entire world, but these little things, and Jim, maybe why don't you go ahead and explain this a little better to how this gets set up, being the CTO and just tech guru wizard that you are. I know coming from the crypto space with some trading bots, some front runner bots. These bots on Ticketmaster are so out of hand that the actual fans can't even click on the ticket fast enough when they get released to secure the seat. Everything's just getting swooped up by bots. And Jim, explain how this bot situation works, because I want this to just stew in Morgan's head, because I know he has a lot of hurtful things to say about Ticketmaster, and I want to let that build up before it explodes.
Man, so we can get into a little bit. Ticket bots are basically a piece of software that someone builds that is able to scalp pricing details from whatever website you want to buy, sell, resale, whatever it might be. Typically, it's designed by one or multiple people, and the easiest way that they can do it is they take a lot of account takeovers. So it could be even like phishing. Send an email to X person that's bought something on Ticketmaster. It's a little link. You click on it. It somehow has an actual person's account. They can actually use that account, buy the tickets, relist it for a higher price. It's relatively easy to do.
On that person's credit card, or are they using their own credit cards?
You can fake credit cards online. Okay. A lot of platforms still to this day don't validate that kind of stuff. And you could go online right now and just buy bots yourself if you really want to. I think the problem is that the organization, not just Ticketmaster, isn't taking action on it. And it's not just Messi. I mean, we just saw the whole Ticketmaster thing with Taylor Swift. What was that, like the beginning of this year? Mm-hmm. It was like the online ticket sales for her tour like crashed Ticketmaster's website because there were so many bots that were targeting buying the tickets, and they sold out in like 3 seconds or something. Like, how is that even physically possible without bots?
How many bots have you built, Jim?
And what do I have to pay for one?
Is Jim the source of our anger?
Ticket bots, never.
Never. Maybe a front running bot, but most people don't know what that is. So, Jim brought up a good point, right? The club hasn't done anything about this. Leagues Cup hasn't done anything about this. And for the Orlando game, yes, there's been the discount for season ticket holders, but it hasn't been ideal, right? Morgan, describe your experience, your frustrations with this, because you traveled a lot of games, so buying tickets is something you're very used to, second nature to you. How much frustration did this cause you? It took me 30 minutes to be able to even click one fast enough, and the seats bounced around. I couldn't even pick what seat I wanted. It was just whichever one I could get, right? Tell me about your experience.
So basically, I was in the waiting room at 12:20, the earliest you could get into the waiting room. I was among the first people in. I think I was behind like 200 people in, the initial wait, but I was in within seconds of when it opened. I was able to click 2 tickets very close to my season tickets over in the East Stand and get all the way to adding them to my cart, and my credit card information is already in there, put in the security code or whatever, hit pay, get kicked out, told, somebody else has bought these. That then happened for the next about 35 minutes as I tried to buy 2 tickets so I could go with myself and a friend before it got to a point where, like Jay said, I literally could not click 2 tickets, not a question, but 1 ticket I couldn't even click quick enough to to add that seat to the seats that I'm interested in. And that went on until, I got to a point where I just said, fuck it, I need a ticket to the match, and ended up paying, the price I would have paid for 2 tickets over in the East Stand for 1 midfield club ticket on the West Stand, because that's literally all I could click quick enough to get to the cart and actually check out with. And I checked today, a day later, that entire row in the West Stand is available for resale.
Yeah.
Every single ticket in that row except for mine is available.
It's wild because you'll go on the resale and you will see an entire row all for sale, all the same price. And the only way that makes logical sense is that a bot swooped them all up. And the club tries to release them in batches, right? Like they try and drop new tickets like every few minutes, I guess maybe to avoid that. And maybe one of you guys knows the answer to this. What is the way to alleviate this situation? Obviously, I would like to think that when we get back to the regular season, Inter Miami would put a little bit more effort into it since this is more ran by Leagues Cup. But what are the possible solutions to make this a more enjoyable and realistic experience for either season ticket holders or just local fans?
Get rid of Ticketmaster. It's being as serious as I can be. Get rid of Ticketmaster. Burn them to the ground.
So I was thinking,
definitely not doing anything against it. That's for sure.
Like, would SeatGeek be the way to go, or would that just be another situation? I was thinking, like, man, maybe there's a business opportunity here to make just a legit, honest ticketing website. Because let's say you buy a ticket for $200, you're probably going to pay, I don't know, $40, $50 in fees. Let's say you want to sell that, you're probably going to pay 20% off top back to Ticketmaster, and then whoever's buying that ticket is still paying the probably $40 to $50 in fees. So for that $200 ticket to be bought and sold to someone else, they're making nearly the cost of it, right? 3/4 of the cost. Is there anything that can be done maybe by the club when we move back to regular season where maybe they issue codes for, say, an hour prior to it going on sale to the public, it just goes to the season ticket holders? Or is there a season ticket holder that is being the asshole and creating the bot?
No, I think it's as simple as, allow season ticket holders an exclusive window to buy tickets again. We've seen that Leagues Cup and MLS will allow this. They allowed it for the Atlanta United and the Cruz Azul matches. But for the Orlando match and now the Charlotte match, it was a free-for-all from the very beginning. It wasn't ever just, all right, season ticket holders, here you guys go. Here's a code to access. It was, all right, tickets are for sale to everybody. Season ticket members, here's a code if you guys want to get your 10% off or not. And that's the issue. It made it so season ticket holders aren't competing against other season ticket holders for their tickets. They're competing against literally everybody, and that includes scalpers who are using bots.
What about the dynamic pricing? Do you understand how that works, Jim? Because it's insanely annoying, because every 10 minutes that goes by where you couldn't secure a ticket, those prices are increasing in increments. And I was just curious, and I went in there the following day just to see if they were sold out, if Inter Miami still had some IMCF tickets available, and they did, and they were all $750 this morning. Why the hell do we have to deal with dynamic pricing, and how is that even a legal thing?
I don't even understand why they do dynamic pricing. I mean,
Fees.
I feel like they're doing that to try to counter the bot issue. Problem is, like, Ticketmaster, when they do this kind of stuff, will always be a target. Like any if we switch to any other ticket website, like, they're going to have similar issues. Like, it's about the demand. Once there's demand for something, like, everybody's going to target it. So you have to do as much as physically you can to prevent it. And I guess they think the dynamic pricing is supposed to help with that situation. I don't really see it, because it decentivizes people to even buy some of the times, because it constantly goes up. So people are just hoping that they'll see the tickets on resale like 2 weeks later before the game, and it'll be cheaper.
Yeah, is that really doing justice? Oh, we stuck it to the bots. but now the tickets are $750 to whoever wants to buy them if you're a real fan. Like, so the fans are suffering, the bots are now suffering, I guess. It's just a ridiculous situation, and someone's got to get a hold on. I don't know. I know that this stuff has been coming actually in front of even Congress, and hopefully something's done. I don't think there is an easy solution to do anything for bots in any use case for a bot, because it's so hard to verify who's a real person, who's not, and that'd be a lot of extra resources you'd have to put into that, and probably a lot more painful of a process for everyone involved, all the fans that want to buy tickets. But absolute nightmare. But anyway, I think that wraps us up. I'm running out of conspiracy theories here. So we do have a game. The Charlotte game is coming up on Friday. The time is to be determined. I'm going to assume it's probably an 8 o'clock kickoff. Since it's home at Drive Pink, probably closer to 8:09, because instead of starting the game at 7:51 and starting the national anthem and the walkouts at 7:51 to actually start at 8, why would we ever do that? It doesn't make sense. So we're probably looking at 8:09 kickoff. But boys, do you have anything else you would like to add? Any topics or anything you want to discuss real quick?
Burn down Ticketmaster.
I got another conspiracy theory.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, baby.
What about the Messi celebration conspiracy theory? How he's been doing Marvel celebrations when he scores goals? You think it has a conspiracy theory to do with a marketing ploy by Adidas to promote Marvel superhero movies because they released the Marvel themed clothing line?
Are you insinuating Adidas would pay Messi an additional fee to push Marvel celebrations because he did the Thor and the Black Panthers one? That might be the most believable one of the entire night.
Yeah, but we didn't get one against Dallas. We didn't get another Marvel one. I thought he was going to just keep going through the movies. Now we're going to see good old Captain America, maybe an Iron Man.
Yeah.
Is Spider-Man Marvel?
Yeah, Spider-Man's Marvel. Yeah. I'm not even that big into Marvel, but I just know that he's in the Avengers movies. Man, that is. But, maybe because it went to VAR, and so it's kind of too late to do a celebration. And maybe because the free kick, he was saying, get back, like, let's go, let's win this game now. Maybe he just didn't have time. But that's going to be something to keep an eye on throughout the remainder of this season. And damn, Jim, I really like that one. I believe that conspiracy theory, actually. That is wild. That would mean that, I guess, Marvel or Adidas is in the pockets of Marvel's in the pockets of Adidas. However that works out, man, that's deep. Is that all to sell more training kits, or is there a higher level Thanos, Age of Ultron, whatever the other movies are? That's wild. I love that one. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. If you don't already, follow us on social media, Twitter at Inter MIA Podcast, Instagram at Inter Miami Podcast. Reach out to us, join our Discord, where we can discuss these conspiracy theories in much more detail behind closed doors, so we're not all judged. But I had a great title for this episode, and now it's just going to be a bunch of conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories everywhere, I think, is what we're going to title this one. But we look forward to seeing everybody out there on Friday. If you do follow Top Bin 90, they're Charlotte-based podcast. They do a lot of stuff around the MLS, though. Really funny bunch over there. So I believe they're going to be coming out to the Green Lot to meet up. So we're going to have a really good little tailgate and pregame out there. It's going to be a good time. And as we end every single episode, vamos, Miami.
Vamos, Miami.
Vamos, Miami.